Louie, Louie, we gotta go. Louie, Louie, we gotta go. Find a little girl to wait for.
Hi, I'm Art Fein. 2-1. I'm Art Fein. It's Art Fein's Poker Party coming from Hollywood with some very special guests, or maybe one special guest. Also, let me introduce Todd Everett. Todd, welcome to the show.
No, actually, I've just got about 100 of these blue shirts.
Hey, wait a minute. It's from the last time we did this. Todd Everett, wonderful guy. And next to him, very special, extraordinary guest, Mr. Richard Berry. Richard,
doing, Art?
welcome to
Okay.
the show. Richard's the writer, originator of Louie Louie, and numerous other things that we'll talk about in the course of the show. Next to him, next to me, I got Hudson Marquez. Hud.
Art, it's good to see you again.
It's good to see you too, man. Your credits go without explanation, so let's dive into the Richard Berry story immediately. Richard, you're born in Louisiana, but you made your home here most of the time.
Right.
I mean, when did you come here as a child?
Came here when I was a kid.
Yeah, and
A baby, rather.
And you were involved in the doo-wop or R&B scene.
Yeah.
In South Central LA.
Yeah, Jefferson High School.
So we know about Louie Louie in 1956, which is certainly your landmark, one of your landmark efforts. Was there a lot of activity before that? Were you playing in a lot of bands? Or?
Yeah, well, I was doing a lot of writing and recording for Modern Records. Before Louie Louie, I did Roll With Me Henry with Etta James.
What did you do?
I was Henry.
You were
Hey,
Henry?
baby, what'll I have to do?
You were Henry on that
Yeah,
song?
I was Henry, yeah.
I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I did There's a Riot Going on July 2nd, 1953, which I do now. I call it Riot in South Central L.A.
Riot, we were talking about the song Riot in Cell Block Number 9, Lieber and Stoller composition that the Coasters did. Now that's a situation where you were a ringer, right? You were brought in to sing.
Right.
Well, it was the Robins at that point anyway.
Yeah.
It was the Robins.
Yeah.
And did you know Lieber and Stoller, or you just...
Yeah, well, they were walking up and down Robinson Boulevard at the same time we were.
Where the hell's Robinson Boulevard?
Robinson Boulevard is down in Beverly Hills. That's where Modern Records
Oh,
offices
Robinson.
were.
Okay, okay. Yeah. Modern Records was on Robinson. Yeah. And
So the way I heard the story was that you were brought in because they thought you sounded more like a criminal than whoever was singing bass for the Coaster.
Well,
for the Robins.
actually, Bobby Nunn was the bass, and he was a refined, singer like that. And Lieber and Stroller, they had been around Modern Records, and they heard me doing a lot of Willie Mabon stuff. And that's why they said they wanted me to do it, because I used to do I don't know my oh my oh my, and I didn't have the criminal voice.
Criminal voice. We're going to get that Mr. Berry. He's got a damn criminal voice. We'll get him in here.
But more threatening.
Yeah.
well, so the song, there's a Riot in Cell Block Number 9. What were some of the other things you did? It was the whole song, or just the intro and the outro?
No, I did the whole.
He was the
whole
narrator
bit.
on the record. He did all the talking.
I did the whole
part.
talking thing. And then, of course, Modern Records wanted me to do something similar, so I did the big break for them and a whole lot of other minor things on that similar talking type thing.
But it didn't work. So what about that session? You just got your session fee?
Yeah, I think it was about $35 at that time.
And you couldn't really and at the time you didn't really capitalize on it, did you? I mean,
No, I couldn't, but eventually I did, because everybody knew it was me. I don't know, maybe I just had one of those voices, but even Modern Records, they knew it was me. They didn't put my name on the record, but they knew it was me,
But was that a Robbins record then?
Yeah.
That was a Robbins record.
at the beginning of this show, we played a little of your version of Louie Louie. I'd like to just play it for 30 or 45 seconds right now while we're sitting here, because everybody knows the King's Men's version, and it's one of the biggest hits of all time, and everybody knows the lyrics were controversial because the way they slurred them, there were many ways to interpret what was going on.
Well, the FBI interpreted it that way.
Well, let's just listen to the first verse. We'll just sit here, and we're not even going to go to black or anything. We'll just talk to each other for a minute. And let's listen to the first verse of Louie Louie by Richard Berry, recorded in 1956. You guys got it ready?
ship across the sea. I sail the ship all alone. I never think I make it home. And Louie, Louie, well, we gotta go. Louie, Louie.
Well, there it went. Okay, now that we listened to that, of course, it's just a song about a trip through the Jamaican Isles
Right.
on a ship. And the way that song, I know that the way that song got to the Kingsmen was indirect because another Northwestern band, Paul Revere and the Raiders, remembered it and recorded it first.
Yeah, well, originally a group called the Wailers from Washington did Louie, Louie, I think. But the Kingsmen had the hit, but there's a little rivalry going there in the Northwest between the Wailers and the Kingsmen. But the Kingsmen had the hit record.
Yeah, and it was it was like an 8-year-old record by the time. Oh no, when did it come out by the Kingsmen? 63.
63.
So it was a 7-year-old record, a 7-year-old non-hit.
Yeah,
by you.
I found out they found the record in a 99-cent bin, you know.
And at the time, you hadn't. You certainly, I'm sure you'd forgotten about it by then. I mean, were you singing it in concert in '63 before they came out?
Oh yeah, because Louie, Louie, even though it wasn't a top 10 seller for me, it was one of the biggest songs that I had made. So it was my
hit locally too. I mean, all the Art LeBeau, all the oldie shows.
Yeah, San Francisco was #1 up north. Sure. So I mean, it was my bread and butter song for quite a few years.
I see. I didn't know that. I thought it was just laying fallow until they.
There's I don't know if you're going to bring it up, but in the context of Louie, Louie, another song that you had that was sort of a hit about the same time was recently revived, unfortunately for you, not on record, but by Bruce Springsteen, was doing Have Love Will Travel in concert, which I guess he got from the Sonics version.
Yeah. Well, matter of fact, we're into something where we're going to have some super guys super groups that's going to come in and do Louie, Louie with me and Have Love Will Travel.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, that would be great.
That's great. It's about time. Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
We also,
Yes,
when
indeed.
talking about Lieber and Stoller, you were in the Flares when Lieber and Stoller, or were not?
Yeah, well, I was in
Stoller made their first record?
Exactly. I mean, matter of fact, they were the producers on the first record that we did, which was She Wants to Rock. And you could tell their humorous side because they had gunshots and everything in this record that we were just as kids just singing She Wants to Rock, and then pretty soon they just had a whole thing come in that really made it interesting, you know. I mean, at first we were kind of saying, what are these guys doing to you know, because, you know, we were this doo-wop group singing, you know, in the kitchen, the bathroom, wherever, you know, just harmony. Now here come these guys with all these gimmicks and stuff. But after that was the mainstay of the Flares, I think.
Kind of sounds like a Spike Jones
How long did you
session.
stay with the Flares?
I was with the Flares, because from the recordings I got, I did at least about 10, 12 songs. I was with the Flares from 53 until 55, I think.
Mm-hmm. And who else was in the band that came out? Of that?
Cornell Gunter, who
in the
later went to
Coasters.
Young Jesse, Obie Jesse, Pete Fox, who was with the Cadets, and another guy named Beverly Thompson, who went to jury dealing.
Well, there's just a rich R&B scene here in Los Angeles in the 50s that isn't exactly overlooked, but it isn't what LA is noted for. I mean, people pretty well think that LA music started in the 60s with the Beach Boys. And
No, well, we were the first, they say Frankie Lyman a teenager, but we were the first teenage group to record as being the Flares in 1953. Because at that time, you know, there were really, your biggest groups, I think, was Sonny Chill and the Orioles, and I think the Dominoes at that time.
those are older fellas relative to you.
Yeah. I mean, they were older guys. They were guys who we looked up to, Sonny Till, and we always used to, when we went to parties, that's whose songs we were singing. You know?
When did your voice change?
When did my voice change? My voice, well, I always had a bass voice, but I could sing first tenor and second tenor, but I think after about 5,000 Salem cigarettes, I couldn't do it anymore. You know? Somebody asked me about one of the songs I did called Take the Key, and I think I changed it 3 keys lower, you know, because I do high falsettos. I used to do high falsettos. I can't do it anymore, you know, but as you get older, just like Michael Jackson, you find out that you can't hit those notes anymore. So you speed the records up, right?
Not to suggest that Michael would do anything like that.
No.
But on the Louie Louie trail again, you had this song, and it was your bread and butter song up until the explosion when the Kingsmen did it. But somewhere along the way, you lost the writer credits on it? Or
Yeah, well, I sold the publishing copyright in 1957. I wanted to get married, you know. And at those times, you know, record companies, they'd give you small advances. You know, they never give you any money, but they give you $100, $200, you know. And I wanted to get married, so I was afraid to ask the guy for $1,000, you know. So I asked him for $750, and so I said, I'll even sell you these songs, which it wasn't only Louie Louie. It was
your whole publishing catalog.
Oh,
right?
yeah, but he was the guy on the record company. So I felt, hey, you know, like I had got all the mileage that I was going to get out of the song. Never, because we never got royalties, you know. I mean, we always got a statement, but we always owed the record company.
So at the time, it seemed like a reasonable deal to you.
Yeah, it was. And I was getting married and everything, and you know, we never knew that 8 years later that some guys were going to pick this record up out of record bin and make it a #2 record, I think it went to, in Billboard.
But when you say you sold the publishing, you should still have the songwriter money. Right?
Well, no, because the copyrights and the publishing combines the songwriting. The only money I was getting was my BMI performance, because BMI won't allow you to sell your songwriters. And that's what kept me eating for a lot of thin years, was the BMI.
Okay, you're getting over my head. I don't know how that works, but
He got some of the money he was entitled.
Right.
Well, I mean,
understand
not
that.
entitled to, because he fair and square sold off the other part.
Yeah,
He got
outright.
about half of what he might have if he hadn't sold it.
Yeah, I mean, when you sell a song outright, you're selling all your rights. But BMI will not allow you to sell your writer's rights, which they pay you for performances.
I see.
That has to go to the writer. It can't go to.
It can't go to the publisher or whatever.
Strangely honorable. Man.
Yeah, well, you know, and we didn't
BMI.
get any publishing anyway. You sign a contract, says you get publishing, blah. But we never, you know, because the record company had the publishing companies. We didn't have any publishing companies. I have a publishing company now, but I mean, it's after 30-some years of learning this business and about renewals and stuff. We didn't know anything about
How did
that.
you go about getting the publishing rights back?
I had some people in New York, artist rights, who represent me and about 300 or 400 other artists.
Oh, the Ruth Brown people.
Well, I mean,
what's it-
what grounds
Chuck-
did they use for getting it back, since you had legitimately sold?
The grounds were that though we sold the copyright, we didn't sell the renewal rights. And after 28 years,
Okay.
the renewal comes back.
So you missed the big 28 years. But
Yeah,
it's
but
not bad now.
it's still some lunch in the song, you know.
I think so.
You know, because you know, since I've gotten the copyright and publishing back, I've been astounded that how much life is in this song. You know, we had a couple of movies last year. We had that Coupe de Ville movie, and we had a couple of commercials. We had the California wine cooler. That's what really got the song back for me.
Wow.
You know, we had a California wine cooler. We had a wheat check commercial. You know,
love
the
it.
wheat checks was jumping out
And
the
it's all
box.
on,
singing.
these are all different recordings, or usually they're using the Kingsmen?
Well, they generally have what do you call the guys that do the
Cover versions?
the average sessions? Yeah, they got a special group that does all this stuff, because they had the same group that did Louie Louie, that did Papa Ooh Ma Ma for the California wine cooler.
I see.
All purpose.
So in the 60s, you were an ex-member of the Flares, or a current solo performer, but there was nothing particularly chart-wise happening, right?
No, during the '60s, I spent 20-some-odd years in nightclubs, local nightclubs.
60s and 70s?
Yeah.
All the night from
hours.
60 to 70 spent 20 years.
Yeah.
It was 20.
After I did after hours, I was very popular in the local clubs around here. I had my own band, and at that time I was eating good, you know, because you figure you make a couple of $100 a week, you know, and that was pretty good money. And then '70s came the disco thing, and 55 beats to a minute stuff and everything, and they started saying, well, why don't you play disco? I says, the guy's playing disco when we come off. And so after then, round about the beginning of the '80s, I just said that was it.
Stop the club band thing.
Yeah, I almost stopped everything. You know, I just figured I just got burnt out. And then I had these people from New York get in touch with me about getting the rights back to Louie Louie. And even then I said, no, I'm not interested. You know, I just want to. And he says, well, let me work on it. And he would, year to year, he would tell me, he says, I'm going to get it back for you. So in '85, hey, now I love what I'm doing. You know, I go to gigs smiling now. You know, got my kids playing with me and stuff.
So you got a regular band you're playing with?
Yeah, well, my kids play with me. My daughter plays drums. My son plays bass. I play keyboards. So we pick up a horn player and guitar player, and we're gone.
And you do. I mean, there are Louie Louie conventions and things.
Oh
like
yeah,
that,
well, we do LouieLouie cruises on boats and stuff. You know.
Oh, no, really? A Louie Louie cruise?
Yeah.
How can I get on one of those?
Yeah, this sounds fair.
I mean, we used to do a Louie Louie cruise once a year with Bernie Pearl. For the.
Sorry, but what is a Louie Louie cruise?
A Louie Louie cruise is everybody, they have a show, but they call it Louie Louie cruise because when we come back to dock, we're singing Louie Louie and the boat's rocking, you know, and I'm seasick, you know.
You don't like to fly or go in boats?
Huh?
You don't like the boat?
No, I love the boat, but you know, we did a Louie Louie cruise in San Francisco, and we were cruising around San Quentin, and you know, the waters there are kind of rough, you know, you know, but it's nice. It's really great.
That's
Terrific. And then, of course, this is the first volume of Rhino's
right.
10 or 10 Louie Louie versions.
That was released in '83 when I did the Louie Louie Marathon. They played over 900 versions of Louie Louie the whole weekend on radio.
Well, your royalty statement must be kind of interesting because it does delineate all the different versions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't believe they had this. We went up to a place called Los Altos, Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And these guys from this little college up at Foothill College, and they had a little radio station there at KFJC, and they were putting on this because some radio station in Berkeley had played 38 versions, and so there's another station came back and played 88 versions.
Oh, no.
So these guys said that they were going to end all the Louie Louie controversy. They were going to play 300 versions, right? So they told everybody who had a garage band to make a tape or who had original recording. We had like touch tone telephone Louie Louie. We had barking dogs Louie Louie, and we had
it's great.
We had a restaurant Louie Louie, shrimp Louie Louie for Here to Go, you know.
Okay, let's cut away to some live music of you singing. It happens to be with a couple of the Blossoms, with Fanita James and who was the other girl?
Gloria
Jones.
Jones.
Oh, okay.
Where was this taken? This is you guys. We haven't started it yet, but.
Well,
anyways, it's a performance of you guys.
Maybe that was at the Doo-Wop
Society thing.
Yeah, I hadn't been with the girls since '50s.
Well, you sure sing good. Let's take a listen. Okay, we'll take a look at that footage that Jim Dawson brought in for us.
Can I hear that?
Oh, yes, you can. It'll be coming up in just a second.
Here it is.
Take a hand from me and wait for me till I come home.
Till I come home.
Yeah.
Till I come home.
No,
Till I come
no, and it won't be long
Won't be long.
till I'm back in your arms.
Back in your arms.
Baby, you know, it's where I belong.
Where I belong. Where I belong.
back in your arms.
back in your
Girl, you know, it's where girl, you know, it's where I belong.
where I belong, where I belong.
Girl, you know that I love. I said I love no one but you. And I adore you. For you, only you, baby, I am yours. And please wait till I return. Girl, you know it won't be long
Won't be long,
till I'm back in your arms.
back in your
You know, girl, it's where I
where I belong.
So wait for me,
Wait for me,
baby, why don't you wait for me,
wait for me, wait for me,
baby, wait for me.
wait for me, wait for me,
I want you to wait for me,
wait for me, wait for me.
baby, wait for me, wait for me.
Wow,
That's really nice.
that's great. And I was saying that it looked like the girls didn't know exactly where to come in, but you say they had done that song with you, and they're just kind of remembering it as well.
Right.
Yeah. That was great. You know, that's a Southern California Doo-Wop Society meeting that they hold every so often at the Hop in Puente Hills.
What hills that one was?
Puente Hills down OC. It's a good thing to get in contact with them. I mean, you can see a show like this, you can't see it anywhere else.
Oh yeah, well they honored me. They gave me a gold record, but this was one that we did out at the one out in near Long Beach. I did a couple of them.
So you're appearing around Los Angeles once in a while?
Every once in a while, we did a show last week with Johnny Otis for the county out at the park out there near Raging Waters, and they had a big show out there last Sunday.
What about the rest of the world? I mean, are you playing Europe? You playing New York? You playing anywhere else?
My grand performance in my debut in New York was for the New York State Supreme Court.
What do you mean?
Well, we had a case going with a lawyer there, but this thing has been going on for a couple of years, and we had this lady judge who had this jury sequestered that she had to let him go, and I've been going back and forth to New York, and so finally, the last day, the guys decided they're going to settle, right? So the judge says, well, I'm sorry, gentlemen, but Mr. Berry cannot leave my courtroom until he sings Louie, Louie for my jurors.
He had the jurors to question them all.
Wow.
How long ago was that?
This was about 2 years ago.
Oh, man.
And I was saying, God, you know, I mean, I've performed all my life, and all of a sudden I couldn't remember the words to Louie, Louie. And I had this one lady that was sitting down in front, and she was looking at me smiling, and I was saying, God, what's the words? What's the second verse? I said, do you want me to sing all of it, Your Honor? She says, every word.
Oh, no. God.
That was my debut, my debut in New York.
The only time.
Well, I worked up at the Rock and Roll Cafe about 3 nights later.
Oh, great.
Just a one-night shot, but my first performance in New York will always be the state Supreme Court.
What about Europe? I mean, Big Jake McNeely's going over there. A lot of people.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people have asked me about why I never appeared in Europe, but I never really, you know, number one, I never really regarded myself as a world traveling artist. You know, I always felt that I was a real writer, and I basically was a homeboy and everything. I would love going to Europe now because I feel like I'm in the right frame of mind if I can get the right boat.
It's not going to be flying over there.
Oh, that's right. You don't fly.
Not going to be flying. They got a lot of good boats.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
Well, how'd you get to New York? You take the train?
Train.
Wow.
Amtrak. Only way to travel.
He says he gets that nice sleeper deal. This is sounding good to me. Like man, yeah, I need that train too.
There's problems with Amtrak too, because coming back, the train caught on fire, and then after we put the fire out, then we hit a diesel. Nobody got hurt. And then after the diesel, when we got to Colorado, we ran into a chemical spill. We had to get off the train and bus to Winslow to get on another train.
This is all on the same trip.
Same trip. We're about 24 hours late. And I wrote Amtrak a letter, you know.
I bet. Well, we're glad you're around and kicking. By the way, you got your rights back in 85.
85.
But 89, something different was going on in New York? I mean, it wasn't a thing about your songwriting rights?
No. This was a guy that says, well, he helped me get the copyright back. And it was more a hassle he had with the company. But since I'm part of the company, he sued me too, you know. He said it wasn't anything he had against me. I said, well, my name's on the lawsuit. But they settled.
I think that's what Mike Love said to Brian Wilson. It's nothing personal.
All right, well, Richard Berry, I saw you at Club Lingerie about 5 years ago, maybe 6.
Yeah.
I think was Big J on that show? I'm not sure.
Yeah, Big J was on that show.
And I did see you at the Music Machine get up and sing with somebody. Was it with Ike? Was it?
It was with Juke Logan, I think.
Juke one night?
Really?
Yeah,
And,
I saw you do that.
And Juke was the one that told me about Ry.
About Ry.
Ry Cooder. He said, I know this guy, Ry Cooder, who's got all your records, and he knows every lick that you ever played. And I said, who's Ry Cooder? And so he told me, and then I went to San Francisco
Did a session.
to do a session, and Ry came up, and so I was appearing at this club that night, and he says, well, can I come over and sit in? And I said, great, you know. And he come over and he sit in, and he played every lick that was on the record.
Yeah,
Louie, I mean, the guitar lick, he played it.
All right, well, we got to check out now, but we're glad you're back in town, and we're glad you're available for bookings now. You're ready to start performing a lot.
Yeah.
And we saw how great you are, so let's go out on your version of Louie Louie live at the Doo-Wop Society,
Great.
Southern California Doo-Wop Society, and thanks a lot for coming down.
Thank you for having me.
We're glad you're on.